There it is. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. The president of Namibia, Nandi Ndaitwah, powerful message to Africans and to the Germans for all the things that they have done to the Namibians. According to her, they are calling on the Germans to come and give them their reparation for all the bad things that they have done to them. According to her, Germans came into Namibia and did all sorts of things, and they have to pay for all the bad things that they have caused the Namibians. Also, the Africa, we have to add value addition to our raw materials. We have to also look at the land issues. She spoke about the land issues. We know this land issue has become a problem in Africa, and we've seen what is happening in South Africa. Namibia is also facing the same thing. According to her, in their manifesto, they talked about how they are going to take about thousands of hectares of land to add to the agricultural land. And also, when they are talking about the land in Namibia, they are not only talking about the agriculture only, they are also talking about where people will sleep, because when you come out of your farm, where will you sleep? We've seen that the blacks in Africa, with this white thing land issue, lots of them do not have land to farm, to talk of even where to put their head, and that they are looking at all these things. And Africans, we need to add value to our raw materials, and we know when we are talking about value addition, it's going to affect the people Yellow Papa, and these people will do everything possible to make sure they rise up to fight.
There are areas that we need to seriously consider, and one of them is the high unemployment, particularly among the youth, which we are experiencing in our country. And one has to really understand, how did we reach at that high unemployment? That's because there have been so many factors, some, if not all, beyond the control of any political party. And that is the situation we are finding across the region. One of them, as you know, our economies are still growing, and agriculture, which is known historically all over the world, that is the basis for economic development. I must say, since our independence in 1990, we never experienced good rainfalls. It's either a drought or too much water, like what we are experiencing this time around.
And certainly Namibia has faced serious drought. You've mentioned one of the biggest problems facing the country, which is youth unemployment. It's at more than 40%. You've pledged radical shifts to fix the country's high levels of poverty and unemployment. What will you do?
Yes, as we have said it in our 2024 election manifesto, that we are going to refocus on the sectors that we see, and we have learned over the years that those are the sectors that can grow the economy and create the necessary jobs. One of them is, as you know, the Namibian economy is mineral-based. And for a long time, we did not really invest fully in the value addition. And that's why our cabinet has taken a decision for us to pay special attention to the value addition, so that we cannot allow to continue exploiting all our natural resources, all of it or most of it, to leave the country unprocessed. And that's why our elections was based under the theme, unity in diversity, natural resources benefication for youth empowerment and sustainable development. And that is one sector that we are going to focus on. We will engage our neighbors to go into the processing industry, agro-processing, which will also create jobs and also solve the problem of food insecurity. We are talking about the creative industry where many young people are participating. That is in addition to our mining industry. We also talk about our fishing industry. And now we have discovered oil and gas, and we should drive benefit from them.
And on the oil and gas sector, certainly the discovery of offshore oil wells in the last few years have provided a lot of hope for the Namibian economy. You have placed the oil and gas sector under your control. Why have you done that? And what do you say to critics who say that that can lead to political interference and a lack of independent regulatory oversight?
In everything you do, there will always be critics. But I have to tell you that the mandate I got from the Namibian people is to do what I believe is right for them. And I'm telling you, knowing how the oil industry, the history of it, and all the dynamics that is involved, and it's just a new industry, I found it appropriate that it needs close monitoring, hence my decision to place it in the office of the president. And we feel this new industry will contribute to job creation. It just needs proper monitoring.
And you have said that the oil and gas industries will be managed in a way that will maximize the benefit to all Namibians. Will the revenues be publicly audited and published? How will you ensure transparency?
I can tell you that Namibia is a country that is ruled by laws. And since our independence, we are doing things in accordance to our laws. And I want to assure the Namibian people that having taken an oath to defend and protect the Namibian Constitution and the laws of the Republic of Namibia, there is no way I can manage this industry outside the Namibian laws.
You say Namibia is guided by laws. 35 years after independence, Namibia is one of the most unequal countries in the world, and there are some people who say that the laws that are in place haven't worked to make it a more equal society. White Namibians, less than 1.8% of the population, own around 70% of agricultural land. You have reaffirmed the willing buyer, willing seller model, but hasn't that strategy failed? Why are you sticking to it?
Yeah, we are not really sitting to it. First of all, the management of the land is also part of the implementation of our constitution, that part of the property rights. It is true and is known by many who have been following the history of Namibia that at the time of our independence, much of the land was under the hands of individuals, and land being part of the property, and the constitution is very clear on the properties. We have to develop laws, and we started with the willing buyer, willing seller, that we realized it was not working. And we went further after the land conference to introduce the land tax and also to focus on the absent land owners. And some have managed to surrender the land, where those who were landless were settled. Government has also acquired some land and people were resettled. However, there is still a gap. And now we have developed the programs where we can implement the Constitution through expropriation. And currently, our land bill is on its way to Parliament, and that is the one that is going to guide us to the next strategies of ensuring that there is a balanced land distribution.
So can we expect something more assertive? Can we expect in the land distribution bill that you're working on that it will be more assertive to guarantee that there is a more equal distribution of land in Namibia?
Yes, we are aiming to that. And I have also to tell you that when we talk about land in Namibia, we are not just talking about the agricultural land. We are also talking about land in municipal areas where people have to build their houses. Of course, when it comes to the agricultural land, in our election manifesto, we have made a commitment that in the next 5 years, we have to make sure that at least 130,000 hectares of land has been added to the productive land. Because the most important thing when we are talking about the land is for us to ensure that we make land available and at the same time, we'll make it productive.
And do you also see it contributing to Namibia becoming a more equal society? Again, according to the World Bank, it is the second most unequal country in the world, second only to South Africa. Would you say that this is just a statistic or a real crisis?
I cannot really say that it's just a statistics, nor can I say it's a crisis, but it's an issue that we have to face. And that does not mean that we have not witnessed any reduction in inequality since Namibia got independence. You know, our history is one of those histories where the disparity, which was based on one's color of the skin, was so high. And we decided through our policy of national reconciliation to talk to the hearts and to the minds of the Namibian people to enable all of us, united in our diversity, to be contributors in order to reduce the gap between the have and the have not. Of course, we did not achieve the result that we needed. However, that's why we are now in the process where we have to refine. And we know that creating jobs for Namibians who are unemployed is one area that can enable us to reduce the gap between the have and the have not.
Madam President, you've brought up Namibia's past, and certainly Namibia has been in conversation with Germany about reparations for colonial era atrocities. The last German figure of 1.1 billion euros wasn't acceptable to the Namibian parliament. What is the status of those discussions now? And does Namibia have a figure that would be adequate?
You are very much right. We started engaging the Germans as directed by the Namibian parliament when they passed a resolution directing the government of Namibia to engage the German government. And we were given three areas to focus on. One is for the German government to accept that they have committed genocide in Namibia, which now they have agreed to say that even though by the time what had happened, the international community has not defined the word genocide, they see it and accepted that it was genocide that happened. They also agree, as it was requested by our parliament, that once they agree, then they have to come and apology. They told us they are ready to apologize. And thirdly is reparation. You are right. A figure of 1.1 billion euro was given. We introduced into our parliament, and the parliament sent the government back. We engaged the Germans, and where we stand now, the Germans have undertook to increase or to give additional resources as part of the reparation, if they say endowment, to what had happened between our two countries. Namibia, we had our election in November, and our new government was just put in place on the 22nd when the new cabinet was established. And then now for the Germans, they also had elections. And once the two governments are now fully established, we will then resume. And then hopefully we are going to conclude that negotiations.
Okay, you have served as foreign minister in the past. How do you plan to work around the current global stage, especially with major players like the US?
United States of America is one country that Namibia has established diplomatic relations since our independence. And America is one country that is also having business interest. And as we mentioned earlier on about the new industry, which is the oil industry, they also have interest.
USAID was providing $40 million in HIV/AIDS relief alone to Namibia last year. And Namibia has one of the highest prevalence of HIV/AIDS in the world, with 13% of the adult population suffering from one or the other. It's made huge gains against the disease in recent years. Are you worried that some of that progress can be undone?
Not really to the extent that one might expect, but any change might have some impact immediately. But I have to tell you that we have really made a very good progress when it comes to the management of HIV/AIDS. And as you have said it yourself, we are one of those countries that has made good progress. What we have been doing now with the support of the USA support is the continuous mobilization and sensitization. And with the skill that we have gained and the capacity that has been built, we will be able to continue such programs. But any additional support will be very much welcome.
Has Donald Trump called you since your inauguration?
He did not call me, but I was glad, and Namibian people appreciate because he has sent an envoy to come and witness my inauguration and to celebrate with us our 35th independence anniversary. He also sent me a message of congratulations, which I highly appreciate. And I feel with that move, we can work together as two countries in the best interest of our two people and our two countries.
And what about President Xi Jinping or President Putin? Have you spoken to them since your inauguration?
He also sent an envoy who we also appreciate, and send me a message of congratulations. I will endeavor to strengthen cooperation with all countries of the world in the best interest of Namibia and in the best interest of the world, in order to ensure that the citizens of this world, they enjoy the world in which they live.
And that is why we are saying that Africa, if we want to win this battle, we have to fight this battle collectively. Because if it is an individual country that is rising against these people, they will always find a way to sabotage that country. We can never do it alone if we don't team up to fight. We are always thinking about how to defeat these people individually, but it's not going to help us. That is why Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso decided to team up, because they have understood that if we want to defeat these people, we need to unite as a people, as a group. Then we fight them. When they came as a group. They never came individually. And they made sure that any country that will go somewhere and the other Africans that are there want to fight them, they move to give support to that country. It's the same thing that Africa has to do. If truly we want to defeat Yolo Popo, until we come together as a group, we will never defeat them. We don't have to look at it like Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso are in West Africa. We can still team up. The alliance of AES is open to everybody in Africa. You are never too far from AES. Join the moving train. Together, collectively, we stand and fight. Because if we don't team up together, we will never be able to fight these people. We always need our unity. And the unity is for us coming together, seeing beyond the country colors that these people created and grouped us in. Until then, Africa will never make a headway. Until then, we can never defeat these people. Until then, we will never achieve the goal of Africa, and that is total freedom. We need to come together and fight these people collectively. So these things that we are seeing happen in South Africa, is happening in Namibia, is happening wherever. Like we take Germany for instance. Germany has colonized a lot of countries, and these people are calling for reparation in Namibia. So it's the same thing that we need all those who were colonized by Germans, and they have did all the things that they did that they are not good to them, coming together as a people and call for reparation, even though the whole of Africa is calling, we are not seeing. But it's better we call these people together than individual countries rising up to call for it. That way, these people will get the upper hand to always manipulate us and have their way through without us making a headway. And that is why Africa is calling for reparation for years, and we are not getting, because they know Africans are not united. They are divided, and they can easily use A against B, C against D. So we need to unite as a people, not by speech, but by words and actions, like Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make African great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world, in Africa, Southern Africa, and in Namibia.